So Warner Brothers Discovery reported that they've downgraded their expected earnings for the quarter 500 million. They could lose from $300 to $500 million directly due to the strike because they don't have anything new coming out. And here's another thing, that the reason why the strikes work, because all of these you think all these studios just write a check and they just start making movies and TV shows, right? Like they spend $200 million to make Dune, and they spend $50 million to make whatever TV show. That they just write a check, right? Like you and I would go pay a bill. Nope, that's not the way that works. The way it works is every time they want to make a new thing, they go borrow money, right? Every time they want to make a new movie, they don't spend $200 million of their money. They go to investors, or they go to a bank, or they go to whoever that's going to give them a $200 million loan, and they say, look, we'll make this in X number of months, however, after we've finished making the film, we're going to start paying you back, and we'll pay you interest, right? Like any other loan. Except the creditors don't give a fuck about whether or not your movie came out, or whether your TV show came out, or if you got ad revenue or anything. They don't care what your box office was. They don't give a fuck about that. They want their money and their interests. And they're going to start charging you that interest whether or not your shit came out. And that is what's happening. They have invested money in movies and TV shows that are not, they're not going, maybe some of them are going in theaters, but if they were in the middle of filming, they're not done, and they're going to pay that money. They're going to pay interest on that money whether or not it's done. They're going to pay interest on that TV show whether or not it's done. And that's where the power of the strike is, because the WB Discovery, $300 to $500 million short of what they said they were going to earn this quarter. And it's going to keep happening. It's going to happen to every other fucking studio until they figure this stuff out. All right, Lottie, I've ranted. I'm sorry I ran on about that. I mean, look, you heard that. They're going to take a loss, and it's going to keep happening until this strike is going on. Do you think it's enough now, or are they still going to be stubborn?
You can't tell. Rich people don't think like us, man. In their mind, they're like, we'll be fine. Just 500 million.
You know who the shareholder? You know what the shareholders think? Where is my money?
Exactly. I mean, you want to pay a few millions? Is a few millions to lose $1 billion? Is that really? You really are scared to pay just a few million to pay and it's sometimes some of these people don't think if you just pay a few millions, you can make $1 billion. But right now they're like, nah, we're gonna stand our ground on this one.
It's a principle. There's a principle here, and they're doing it to set a precedent. Like, no, we can outweight you. So whoever outlasts each other in this strike, that's gonna set the tone because if the actors and the writers fold, they'll be getting shit deals for a long time, right? But if the studios fold, they feel like they're not going to be able to exploit things the way they want to. So it's a question of who has more fortitude. Now, technically, all of the companies have lots of money, right? They could endure this. But at some point, the shareholders, every quarter shareholders are like, where is my dividend? I gave you money. I invested. You said you'd make a certain return on investment. Where the fuck is it? And every time they say, well, we can't put movies out, their stock price goes down, and the shareholders, their value of their investment diminishes. So at what point, who can outlast this? The shareholders, the people who owe money to the shareholders, or the actors and writers who are, unfortunately, taking hits financially. And whoever can hold out the most they're going to get the things most favorably. And I feel like the actors and the writers understand what's going on more than the studios do. They understand the dire situation, and if they fold on the wrong things, it's going to mean 10, 20 years of bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't get it. Just pay your few millions to get a billion. But these companies, man, I don't know.
How dare these
It,
peasants ask for more money?
it's just like you said, the top of the top making hundreds of millions of dollars. And then when people like the one thing that frustrates me is when I see people go like, "Well, what about the super rich actors? Why are they not helping?" I'm like, "Why should they have to pay to get their contemporaries more money? Why should they have to pay? Why does it's like I never understand like I remember when in the NFL when the NFL was doing the collective bargaining agreement, they were like, well, if the rookies if they really want to get the rookies more money, why don't the veterans give up their pay? No, motherfucker, why don't the damn billionaire owners just pay for money? God dang.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Because rich people don't like to part with their money any more than we do. Less so.
But
They
but what
they want to exploit. That's like I
But
think
here's my thing that I don't understand about America, like the country we live in, is that they have this tribalistic mentality of protecting the rich. Like it's you will be surprised. There's a lot of people that think like the Elon Musk and the Bill Gates and all of them are like protect all costs, while the millionaires are the ones we should be pissed off at. No, most millionaires were not people that were born with money. They worked their way to get their money. Why should a person who's worth a few million give up his money to where a guy literally if you own if you own $1 billion, you can give up half of your worth and still be worth 500 million, just 1 billion.
yep.
Not we're talking about like Bill Gates, who's worth like 100 billion, who can give up 90% of his money and still be a multi-billionaire.
Well,
You
what you're talking about is called class warfare, and we don't have time or that's not really the subject of this
Yeah,
podcast. Your point's well taken, though. There are people like I've seen people give shit ass takes talking about how pissed off they are at the writers and the actors because now the movie they wanted to see isn't going to come out. Bitch, turn your fucking eyes to the people who, if they would just good faith negotiate about the fucking things, it'd be done.
yep,
That writers and actors are just like they're striking for a reason, and it's because they can see the way these things are going, and they're going in a bad direction where there's more exploitation, not less. And if you're for exploitation just so you can see a fucking movie, fuck right off. You can in fact if that's your attitude, and if you're listening, that's your attitude, I hope somehow there's some kind of mystical way, like Spider-Man No Way Home, where Doctor Strange can make sure that you never see any first run anything ever. That the only time you'll ever get to see a new movie or TV show that you really want to watch is going to be on TNT TV edited, because you are so fucking self-absorbed. You lack empathy. You lack any kind of self-awareness that you really think that you're getting Dune Part 2 is more important than the livelihood of thousands of people. Fuck right off.
yeah.